Hey guys, Steve here. So, I have marked my frets. You can see here. I've also done the fret markers on the side. Now, I'm gonna mark those with a soldering iron. Showed you that in the last video. So, this guitar is on a 25-inch scale. So essentially, you just lay this on your neck and you're able to draw your lines. Put your fret markers in. And then it also gives you these little dots over here to put your fret markers on the top, which I feel like those are important, more important to me than the ones on this face. So I've already cut my first two frets, which the first one I use large fret wire to be my nut. That works for me. It seems to get the height right. So you can see the depth. And now I'm going to cut the rest of those at the same time. And I'm getting ready to, you can see none of this is rounded yet. And I'm getting ready to round it. And I've got a roller router bit here. I was using a non-roller bit, and a non-roller bit will burn your wood, and then you're going to have to sand it out. So I wanted to try using a roller rounding bit. Now, you can see the rounded edge. It's not quite rounded round, but it's rounded enough to not be uncomfortable when you're playing it because of the sharp edge. With this one, I did not round up here because when I was rounding this edge, it was making it where I didn't have enough room to get the tuners in because you're already working on 1.5 inches. And you can see even on this one, they're a little jumbled in there. But I think I do like having the top rounded. So I'm gonna round this edge and this edge on this one. But I don't think I'm gonna do the face. And then I do round it all the way to the heel. There's that one. That was a couple guitars ago. I think I need to start numbering. Now, isn't this funny? This one, I only rounded it a little bit. And this is fretless. And look, there's no markers on the front. Like I said, I don't feel like they're needed. But I soldered them in. I burnt them in on the side. And with this one, I really messed up on the space. Now, I've gotten some smaller tuners. Now, MGB makes some smaller tuners, and I think they'll be easier to get in there. And I'm still working out how I like the positioning exactly. I was putting 2 on top, but it could be that I'd like 2 on the bottom because it's easier to tune your bottom tuners because your hand just naturally is turned that way, whereas on the top you got to reach over. So I think I may switch to having 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. So there you have it. I'd still like to change this one and get rid of that for my bridge. Put a better bridge on there because with a fretless, you want your action to be high anyway because you're doing everything with a slide. So I'll probably switch that soon. And also with this one, I did not need a tailpiece because I went right through I brought the neck right through the bottom. So then it just comes like that. Whereas with this one here, I've had to adjust the height to get the action I wanted over the frets. And I think that's still a little bit high, but I have to adjust that according to buzz. Now, that's where having, you can see there I use a large fret wire. I don't think that lifts it high enough. And maybe I'm getting some buzzing for that. So if that's the case, then I need to do a square cut on the end and get a piece of bone to use for my well, I'm forgetting the word now, for that. So, yeah, then maybe I can get my action tighter. So we'll see. I might even adjust this one, cut it off square and put a piece of bone in there to see if I can get the action right. But just wanted to show you guys that, and I'll show you how this one looks. Well, let's go ahead and work on this for a minute, because I've got the first two cut. So then I'm gonna need a piece of jumbo, and here's the jumbo wire. Look how big it is. And that's compared with this. So quite a bit bigger, but maybe not giving me high enough action. At any rate, I got these new clippers that are flush cut. And I don't know if you watch some of my other videos, these are brand new. Got dust on them though. So they literally will flush cut. So let's hammer the jumbo in. Set it right there. Well, that was a very nice cut. Guess I could have waited to cut this one until. A lot to be said for having the longer handles. Now, because my head goes down a little bit, I tend to hang it off the end of my bench. Look at that. A lot to be said for those flush cut. Now, those are very rough. That one doesn't look like it's pushed all the way down. I think it needs a couple more whacks. Okay. Now, my daughter bought me this for my birthday in September. Haven't even looked at it, but it is a sanding block. You can see it's got 3 degrees, 23, 35, 90 for sanding these smooth. So then it also comes with the sanding blocks. And then you put that, I think that I'm probably going to want them at a 23 degree. So essentially, you put that in there, and then it's got set screws that you drop in there to hold it. And then essentially you put it on your, like this, on your neck. So, just wanted to show you that. And then I have this little file here. This file is smooth on the ends. Right here, smooth. So that's for going in and going around, because you can actually sand and not mess your wood up and not mess your finish up. So, I'll tell you what I'll do. Now that I've got a little mess here. There's the set screws there. Comes with the little set screws and a wrench. So now, I've shown you this before, and Michael at Southern Fire Guitars does this, where I drilled an extra hole. My saw had one hole. I drilled an extra hole. Now I set my depth for how I don't want to cut too deep in my wood. I just want to cut enough for the fret wire. And I found I do better if I start on the side further from me. And then align it. It's not wanting to go smooth for me now. And I believe what I'm going to do is to put some felt on this piece of wood on both sides. Get some glue-on felt, because that'll keep that a little from moving around. At any rate, right now it's moving all over the place, isn't it? It's not cooperating. But I can cut one of these pretty quick. And when it bottoms out, it gets all smooth, and then you just rock it back and forth to make sure you've got it. So look at that. There you go. And I will show you in the next video, frets completed and with this rounded. And then the following video will be, well, look how I've messed that up. Well, I think I'm going to round that back end then, at least a little bit, to get that out. There's a little bit of a gouge there. So, see you in the next one.